When you think of the UK, of course you're probably thinking of the cosmopolitan city of London, Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, or maybe even Stonehenge. In this video, we will teach you everything you need to know about driving in the UK, so that you can explore all the postcard-ready sites and truly get off the beaten path. And that other side of the UK, the picturesque villages of the Cotswolds, the rugged landscapes of the Scottish Highlands, the dramatic coastline of Giant's Causeway, is just as unmissable as some of the more popular urban centers. Unfortunately, those are not always conveniently accessible by public transportation. That's why we think renting a car is the way to go, at least for part of your trip. It's a way of getting a full view of the United Kingdom, a way to get closer to local life, and let's face it, to get away from those selfie stick bearing crowds. That said, you're also probably watching because you're not sure about driving in the UK. Rules, signs, and the daunting task of driving on the opposite side of the road. Here are some of our top driving tips for the UK. Tip number 1. Cars and motorbikes travel on the left. Likewise, the orientation of cars in the UK is the opposite, with the driver sitting on the right-hand side of the car. While this concept may not be difficult to understand in theory, in practice, there are many nuances you should take into account when being behind the wheel. When approaching intersections, for example, you'll have to change the direction in which you look first. Also, you need to be ready for large right turns and smaller left turns. These are just some of the nuances that most foreign drivers find difficult and can unfortunately lead to accidents. Tripiamo's UK driving guide provides more detail on what's important to know for driving on the opposite side of the road, and also gives you virtual practice for what it's like driving on the opposite side of the road in the UK. You can find the link for that in the description. Tip number 2. Not all areas, especially rural areas like in the Scottish Highlands and the Isle of Skye, are very well lit, or lit at all with streetlights. If you're a first-time driver going at it on the opposite side of the road, we recommend planning to drive along your route before the sun sets. Darkness on top of common weather patterns like rain and fog is just an added layer of challenge that can easily be avoided. Plus, one of the best things about road tripping is taking in the scenery, and that's nearly impossible to do at night. The good thing about driving in the UK compared to other European countries is that road signs are listed in English. That's one less major hurdle to overcome. Although many will be familiar to those that you're used to at home, there are some that are different. For example, you'll sometimes come across a sign that looks like this. This simply means no entry or do not enter. This is a simple one, but there are many others you should be aware of. Tripiamo's guide will provide you with a comprehensive overview of all of them. Tip number 4. You'll see speed limits posted on the road itself, or on signs alongside the road and above the road. Sometimes the sign will look like this, which means national speed limit. This doesn't exist in the US. In these cases, follow the guidelines here. For motorways and two-way roads, the limit is 70 miles an hour or 113 kilometers an hour. For one-way roads, the limit is 60 miles an hour or 96 kilometers an hour. In more residential or populated areas, the speed limit will typically be 30 miles an hour or 48 kilometers an hour. Before our next tip, if you're finding this video helpful, please drop us a like on the video to help others find this content more easily. Our channel also regularly posts videos on great tips and tricks for traveling abroad across the globe, like how to get a round-trip ticket to somewhere like London for under $300. And yes, I did say under $300 round trip. Please subscribe to learn more travel hacks. All right, let's get back into a few more tips for driving in the UK. Tip number 5. Roundabouts, and more roundabouts. The UK is littered with them compared to what you may be used to at home. And not only are there a lot of roundabouts, you'll frequently find yourself going through a series of roundabouts, all one right after the other. Always remember to enter roundabouts in a clockwise direction in the UK and yield before entering. For more detail on rules for going through roundabouts and practice going through them, check out our UK driving guide. Tip number 6. Much of the UK's road infrastructure was laid well before most of us were alive, so you'll notice in many areas, small towns, big cities, and countryside areas alike, that roads are quite narrow. In fact, many two-way roads in the UK may just look like one-laners to you. Be cautious and know you may find yourself in an instance where you need to take turns with oncoming traffic to continue along your route. Tip number 7. The most important number to remember while in the UK is the general emergency number, which is 999. You can dial 999 for police, medical, or fire emergencies. That's just a quick overview of some of the top tips you should know before driving in the UK. That said, there is nothing quite like getting actual hands-on experience to gain confidence before driving abroad. I know the pre-trip anxiety personally, as I never felt fully prepared when driving abroad myself. Sure, there are resources online, but none of them felt complete, and many were just dated and nothing made me feel like I was actually ready to hit the road. That's why we created Tripiamo. In addition to a series of informative videos covering pretty much everything you'll need to understand as a foreigner in the UK, with Tripiamo, you'll have an opportunity to try our 360 point of view driving tours that give you virtual practice driving in the UK. The closest thing you can get to driving practice before actually being behind the wheel. This way, you'll not only learn what you need to know, but you'll also know exactly what to expect as soon as you hit the road, including helping you reorient your mind so you're ready to drive on the opposite side of the road. Our guides have been built by travel experts, vetted by European driving schools, and reviewed by countless travelers like yourself that have done it before, ensuring you're getting the complete and accurate picture to avoid all of these mishaps. Tripiamo guides cover everything from driving requirements to local etiquette to how to handle emergency situations, and even lots of ways to avoid unnecessary tickets and fines, which many foreigners wind up getting if they just aren't prepared. So, if you found this video helpful, if you want to limit your chances of getting tickets, and if you're looking for definitive confidence to drive abroad, you should definitely give Tripiamo a try. The best part is that you can complete everything in about an hour. Click the link in the description to access Tripiamo today. We hope you found this video helpful and have a safe and stress-free adventure across the UK.